A boy from a German-speaking Alpine village becomes Italy's national giant-slalom skiing champion at age 8, and tennis isn't even his main sport yet. He was 8 years old and already the best skier in the country. 5 years later, he walked away from all of it. It is a grey winter morning in San Candido, high in the South Tyrol. You are 12, alone in the start gate, and there is no one racing beside you. That is the strange thing about giant slalom. You do not chase an opponent down the mountain. You attack the gates against a clock you cannot see, blind to whether you are first or dead last. You cross the line. Only now, on a board at the bottom, does the mountain tell you where you stood. For years, this was the only feedback he ever got, and always too late to change a thing. So he trained himself to pour everything into a result he could not measure. Ice at speed forgives nothing. One flinch over a steep pitch, and you were in the netting. He learned balance and fearlessness the way you can only learn them when hesitation actually hurts. By 13, both sports wanted all of him, and he could not give both. So he chose the one he was worse at. It made no sense on paper. The tennis kids he was joining had held a racket since they were 4. He was arriving years late, raw, behind. But he brought something down the mountain none of them had. He had already spent his childhood competing with no idea where he stood and staying calm anyway. Others feel the scoreboard tighten around their throat. He described it differently. Pressure is something good. I like to dance in the pressure storm because that is where I bring out my best tennis. His coaches would later trace the footwork and the calm straight back to those slopes. One Olympic skier called him the best skier ever to win a Grand Slam. On that base, he built a game with no retreat in it. Aggressive, standing on the baseline, taking time away from everyone across the net. But the mountain never taught him one thing. A skier never has to close out a lead. The clock does that for him. And the first time tennis put a match point in his own hand on its biggest stage, calm would not be enough to finish it. It is a September night in New York, 2022. You are 2 points from the biggest win of your life, and the match point is on your own racket against Carlos Alcaraz. You do not lose it in one bad swing. You lose it slowly, across 5 sets and 5 hours and 15 minutes. And when it is finally gone, you have learned something no coach ever put into words. Calm had carried him everywhere. Calm could not carry him here. The steadiness from the slopes kept him level while the match slipped away. What it never did was reach out and take the moment. A skier outlasts the clock. He is never asked to grab it with his own hand. So he stopped treating the calm as armor. He rebuilt it as a doorway, a way to walk straight into the storm instead of bracing against it. In his own words, pressure is something good. He likes to dance in the pressure storm because that is where most of the time he brings out his best tennis. The grinder had become the one player who runs toward the thing that breaks everyone else. It is January 2024 in Melbourne. Novak Djokovic has owned a 6-year run of reaching the semi-finals on this court. You are standing across the net from him in the quarter-final, and you are not flinching. He ended that run. Then, in the final, he went 2 sets down to Daniel Medvedev, Evie, with a first Grand Slam title on the line. The old version survives that and loses with dignity. This version came forward 3-6, 3-6, and then 3 straight sets the other way. Down 2 sets, he won the last 3. 8 months later, he was back in New York, the city that had broken him, and he walked through the entire US Open without dropping a single set. One man had kept finding a way past him, and it was Alcaraz. 5 straight defeats. Then a Wimbledon final in 2025, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4, and the streak was finished. At the season finale that November, he defended his title and surrendered a single break of serve across the entire tournament. This is where the name arrived. The Machine. But every storm he had learned to dance in came from across the net. In early 2025, a threat arrived that no forehand could answer, and it was already inside him. It's nearly midnight in Melbourne. You're 2 sets down in the biggest match of your life, and the crowd has already started writing your ending. Daniil Medvedev has taken the first 2 sets, 6-3, 6-3, and he is playing like a man who has already solved you. And you're not panicking. That's the strange part. Anyone else in a first slam final bleeding 2 sets to the sport's great grinder is already gone behind the eyes. The shoulders drop, the serve speeds up. Somewhere the mind is already rehearsing the runner-up speech. His did none of that. Darren Cahill had joined the team 3 years earlier for exactly this moment. The mental edge, the tactical patience that does not flinch when the scoreboard turns ugly. So between sets, he doesn't chase a miracle. He shortens the points and steps in, taking the time away from Medvedev instead of trying to outgrind the best grinder alive. The third set goes his way, 6-4. Nothing dramatic, just a machine that had quietly stopped losing. Then the fourth, 6-4 again, and now it is Medvedev whose shoulders are dropping. Medvedev doing the math. It's the 5th set now. 2 hours ago you were finished. Now the whole arena can feel it tilting, and you're the calmest person in the building. All one's it 6-3. First Grand Slam title, won from 2 sets down in a final against a man who had him beaten. That is the answer to the machine. It does not need to be ahead to be certain, but every storm he had ever reversed came at him from the other side of the net. The one waiting in early 2025 arrived as a positive test, a banned substance already inside his own body, and the calm that had won him everything could not undo a number on a lab report. It is early 2025. You are the best tennis player alive, and a sheet of paper has just told you there is a banned substance already inside your body. No opponent, no scoreboard, nothing to serve back at. Every deficit you'd ever erased came at you across a net, and you ran straight into it. This one was already in your bloodstream, and there was nothing on the far side to hit back. The source was traced to a contaminated supplement, an exposure no one on either side called intentional. You are in a room with lawyers now, not a locker room. The thing being negotiated is not a match. It is your name. The calm that had won you a title from 2 sets down couldn't read this room, because this room didn't move at the speed of a rally. The settlement cost 3 months. 3 months is a lifetime for a number 1. A season has slams, defenses, points bleeding away with every week you are not on court. And here is the strangest part of the whole affair. He was cleared to resume the moment the suspension ended, and he never lost the number 1 ranking at all. The composure everyone traced to a boy racing blind down Alpine ice was built for a storm with a finish line. This one had none. Pressure is something good, he had once said. I like to dance in the pressure storm. But you cannot dance with a lab report, and for 3 months there was no music and no court to stand on. Then the 3 months ran out. The suspension lifted, the racket came back into his hand, and a full stadium leaned in to watch for the one thing his whole career insisted did not exist. The crack. What happened the day the machine walked back on court is why we're still talking about him. It is July 2025. Sent to court, the final, and you have already dropped the first set, 4 games to 6. 3 months of rust sits in your legs, and the man across the net has beaten you 5 straight times. This is the exact place the armor is supposed to crack. He answers with a set, 6 games to 4, then another 6-4, then a 4th at the same score, like a verdict typed out a 3rd time until no one could misread it. The 5-match losing streak to Alcaraz is dead, and a 4th Grand Slam sits in his hands. Rewind 90 days. There is no draw to chase, no ranking points on the line, no locker room to walk into, just a world number 1 the sport has quietly told to go home. A layoff like that rusts most players. The timing softens, the nerve loosens, and the doubt grows in an empty gym. He came back with none of it. By November, you are in Turin, indoors, the 8 best players alive under one roof, and the champion is defending the title he won a year before. Watch the whole week, and you keep waiting for the seam to open. It never does. Match after match, his serve holds, his level holds, and the errors that pour out of tired players simply do not come. 7 days against the best returners on earth, and his serve is broken exactly 1 time. Not one set surrendered the entire tournament. The crowd had come to watch a machine finally break after exile. They watched it walk off court harder than it went in. But go back and freeze that one game, the single break he gave up all week in Turin. One player on one afternoon found the seam no one else could, who pried the machine open for exactly 1 game, and what that game exposed is the only limit it has left. If this brought the match back to you, subscribe for the next one.